Hey guys, I'm back. Part 2 of hot cross buns. Now I've moved around the space a little bit so that you can see how to make the hot cross buns, because this really does make or break bread rolls or bread. If we overwork dough, it gets all stressed again and you will cook rock cakes. And nobody wants rock cakes, hot cross buns, because it's a waste of your mix and it's not good. But if you stuff it up, it's okay, because you'll reach out to me and say, Lisa, what do I do with my rock cakes? And I will tell you to slice them slice them thinly and turn it into bread and butter pudding. Okay, nothing goes to waste with Thermomix. Or if it's not sweet dough and it's a normal, you're making bread rolls normal style, then instead of putting it into a bread and butter pudding, you actually freeze it and use it for breadcrumbs later when you make your meatballs and stuff like that. So the beauty of having a Thermomix is nothing goes to waste. All right, let me show you. This has been sitting over my thermoserver that had boiling water in it. So what I did is I put a couple of centimeters of boiling water in my thermoserver. By the way, free gift with purchase with that cookbook, that one there, until end of day. Okay, so get in quick if you want the free thermoserver. So I had my 2 liters of water, not 2 liters of water, 2 centimeters of water. I have my thermomat sitting on top, and even now this is still piping hot. Like the outside's not, but the inside certainly is. If I spilt that, I'd probably burn myself. So let's come over here. Here is my thermomat with my beautiful dough in it. Now we are looking at a dough that has sultanas in it, so it's not as silky smooth as you'd sometimes expect things like your bread roll dough to be. So the instructions on the screen would tell us to, and I wish I kept my Thermomix up to show you actually now, and I'm just going to pull it up so I tell you the right thing. The Thermomix screen, I didn't even put it in my weekly planner. Let's just bring it up. Sorry guys. It is a Sunday, so I hope you'll forgive me on a Sunday for not being completely as organised as I am Monday to Friday. As I mentioned, I wasn't going to do this. I was just going to make it for the family. And then I was like, oh, I better do it for you guys. All right, let's see. Okay, so transfer dough to a silicone bread mat or floured work surface and work into a ball, wrap in silicone mat and cover with something and leave proof in a warm place until doubled in size, approximately 30 minutes. Knock down the dough and divide into 12 equal size pieces. Form into rolls and place close together on a prepared baking tray and set aside to prove again. All right, so don't worry about knocking it down. Okay, I never knock mine down because I figure then you knock more air out of it. They're just going to get denser. So we are making today, and this is actually what I needed to see the recipe for, we are making 12. Okay, so mine's a bit of a square. You can probably see that just because of how I folded it with the mat. So it's so easy to make 12. We can go into 4. By the way, this is in the mix shop. $3.95. I think it's still in the mix shop. It's just a dough cutter from Thermomix. If you don't have that, you have a spatula. By the way, say hi if you're on today. I'd love to know if you're watching. What are you making today? All right, so into 4. So I've done quarters. Now I'm going to do each of these into thirds, and the best way I do it is like a pizza. Okay, so the reason I do that is it makes it really easy to make consistent sizes. Okay, so into thirds, and that will then give us 12 beautiful rolls. Now the picture they've got there on the cookiedoo.com.au doesn't actually match what they're saying to do, because you can see in their bread rolls they didn't put them close together because they've not pulled them apart. You know when you buy store-bought bread rolls and you pull them apart and you've got that dough that was touching each other that's then that really soft silky stuff? Theirs looks like little cakes that are individual. So they've actually not done what they've said we've got to do. But I like the ones where you pull them apart. Okay, I've got it into 12. Now we're going to grab a wedge. Okay, here's my beautiful dough. I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you guys can see. And we're going to bring it together. So now to bring it together, this is where make or break, okay? With dough, you don't want to re-knead it. You re-knead this, tough. We want to actually just make a nice smooth top. So we spread the top and we tuck it under. We turn it 90 degrees, we spread the top and we tuck it under. And we want to continue this until we get a nice smooth top on our bread. So I'm just doing it with my hands. It's actually not my fingers that are doing it. It's actually this part of my hand that's pushing it under. The other way you can do it, or particularly once you get it to this stage of smoothness, because you can see now, look at that, it's smooth on top, is you can then put it on your mat. Just move this camera so you can see. And you cup your hands over and you put a bit of pressure down on your hand. So the pressure is not on the fingers, the pressure is down on the kind of the palm, and we move it in a circle. Just a little circle on itself. And what it does is it tucks it all in underneath. And now I've got one beautiful bread roll. So I've gone from that to that really easily. Okay, so I'm then going to put it on my awesome rose gold tray, and I've got a beautiful new, they've got these new liners for the tray, and I'm going to make 12. So I'm going to go 3 by 4, and I want about a finger gap between them because they're going to prove and start touching each other. So let's grab another one and I'll show you another process for this. So triangle, because it was a wedge before, I just tuck it in, just tuck the point in so it goes under behind. Start spreading the dough sideways. Turn it, spread. Initially it's going to look a bit mucky. See how it's, because it's got the sultanas particularly, oh, that light is really glary. Hang on, guys. I'll open the door, although you might hear the kids then. But it's really quite, I don't know, doughy looking in there, but it's not smooth yet. So we keep going until it's smooth. And part of that is because we've got the sultanas in it. So the sultanas actually kind of break up the dough a bit. If you've had bread rolls no sultanas, you'll find that it's a lot easier to work with. So we just keep going till we get a smooth top on it. Once we get our smooth top, or smoothish top, onto the mat, cup it down. And the cupping is we're pushing downwards, and we're just going in a circle. So my hand's not going too far. And then, look at that, I'm going to show you. How cool's that? Onto the mat. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, and it is going to be it's going to be practice. Sorry, I'll close the door again. It's going to be practice that gets it smoother and easier for you. Okay, there's no way to kind of shortcut this process. It has to be something where you just practice, and over time it becomes easier. So over time you'll make this really quickly. You can even do it with 2 hands. Now, yeah, I've seen people do. Some of mine are not even sizes. Here I was telling you to cut it so it's even, and mine are not even. So they can do this. Now I don't know that I can do this very well. You can see these ones are quite bigger than my first one. I need to work on my sizings a bit more. That's alright. So the left hand doesn't cooperate quite as much. Look at that. Bread roll. Just put this one into this hand, and I'll come over here and start this one. You do want to start with a circle. By the time, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but by the time you put it down to do the hand thing, you want to have a circle, because otherwise you're just going to end up with a mushy bit of dough. See that one? Not done yet. Needs a bit more doing, but I need a bit more dough for him actually. He's a bit light on. Okay. Always tuck your dough underneath is another tip, because if you end up with a funny mark, it's underneath, not on top. So start with a smooth top. So have a try, see what techniques works best for you. For a very, very, very long time, I've been doing the one with my hands, not this one, the other one. But just recently I was like, oh, actually I think I can do it now. It certainly works best on your thermomat because it kind of stretches it as it goes. And very shortly, I'm just trying to get a smooth top on it. It is challenging, guys, to get a smooth top with sultanas, because your sultanas keep pushing the dough in funny ways. Okay, so that's better. Just give yourself time with that. Alrighty, let's grab some more. Okay, this one looks a bit big. Let's grab dough out of him. So in no time at all, I'm going to have my 12 done, and that's the beauty of this. Now, what needs to happen next is we need to cover the mat with the bread rolls on it with your thermomat, and it needs to prove again. It doesn't need the really warm spot it needed last time, usually. I mean, if your house is uber cold, yeah, you'll need a warm spot still. It can't cope in anything under 20 degrees. It needs to be warm enough to that yeast to do its job. So make sure you do have a warm-ish spot, but it doesn't have to be like before, where we were really taking advantage of the warmth of the thermoserver. Saying that, our air conditioning is on in here at 24 degrees or something, so I'm going to put mine back on top of that same thermoserver with the mat on top of it. So just bear with me for a second and I'll get these done, and I will show you. I've only got 4 to go. There we go. But you can imagine how easy this is to do. Now, if you do make rock cakes, they're not completely lost. Besides, you can use it and make a bread and butter pudding with them. The other thing you can do is if you give them a good prove, so long as you've not overproved the first time, sometimes they'll come good. Okay, so if you did need it at this point, you can save it by giving it a decent prove, and it will come good-ish. It won't be as fluffy as it could have been, but it won't be too bad. Okay, so definitely well worth doing. Don't give it to the kids to make. I know it's tempting to give the kids the dough to make, but they will overwork it. I can guarantee it. They just don't have the coordination to make it well. You can teach them though, but just don't hand it to them and say, here you go, make circles. Okay, because they'll mush it up with Play-Doh. All right, here we go. Just always make sure, I don't know if you just noticed, but see how I've got those couple of sultanas there? If I leave them on the top, they're going to crack open and you'll end up the sultanas kind of hanging out the top. I tend to tuck them underneath. All right, let's finish these ones off. And then I'm going to show you what to do next. My kids are so excited. They've worked out what I'm making. It was a bit of a surprise. Okay. They're not all perfect sizes, guys. So sorry to those of you who like perfectly sized things. Wasn't the way it was going to turn out today. All right. So about a finger size apart. This is a medium rose gold tray for those of you who are wondering. So now what we do, as I said, we're going to cover it. If you don't have a thermomat, I guess you can use Glad wrap. Here is my hot thermoserver still, that's still quite warm. Let's put this on top of here, like that. Now, if you want to make the crosses for your hot cross buns, now I'm not going to today. I don't like fluffy, fancy stuff like that. I'd do it if I was taking it to a friend's house. My kids are just going to eat it, so I'm not going to worry. But if you're going to, just a little tip, I wouldn't worry about making it in your Thermomix. I would grab a Glad bag, and I'm going to show you another day, but I'm not going to do it today because I don't want it today. I would grab a Glad bag and I would put, it's got 80 grams of plain flour, so put your Glad bag in your Thermomix and follow the recipe. But don't make the white piping in your Thermomix because it's only like this much. And then you've got a dirty Thermomix from this much stuff. So into a Glad bag, your 80 grams of plain flour, your 1 pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and 100 grams of water. Close the Glad bag up, give it a massage, okay, and then cut off the corner, just the teeny tiny bit of the corner.